Hi everyone, welcome back to Ari the Star Story, and today we're going to be talking about the first episode of Tales of the Underworld, which is Way Forward. So first off, we started with Asah's Ventress's story. So hers is the first 3 episodes, and then next we move on to Cad Bane's, which I'll be covering in later videos. So we're going to be talking about the first episode, so first off, we start off with the intro, of course, which this has nothing to do with the series, at least not at the moment, but we saw Tech's helmet in the intro, so that made me super excited. Like, even though he's not in the series, I was just so excited to see his helmet. I was like, yes, I was like freaking out. I was so excited. But moving past that, we start off with questions answered for a lot of people. So if people that have read Dark Disciple, they know that Asajj died in that. They noticed that Asajj died in that. So people were like, well, whenever she was brought back in the Bad Batch, they're like, well, how did she survive? How is she here? What happened? And so we got some questions answered to that. So Quinlan Vos and Obi-Wan took her to the burial ground, I assume on Dathomir, to be buried with the rest of her sisters. Because she always talked about being there, and being buried is what Quinlan said there. And so Quinlan brings her into this lake and puts her down. And then he says, I love you, while he's crying. And this kind of broke me, because, like, we know that Quinlan and Asajj fell in love. From Dark Disciple. Like, we know they did that. I've never read it, but I'm just relaying what I've heard from other people that have read Dark Disciple. And it's kind of sad, because we see also Obi-Wan in the background, like, upset. Kind of, like, not crying, but, like, he's mourning her. And it's sad, because she was one of his, like, she was one of his greater enemies. Like, he fought her a lot. So it's super sad seeing her go from, like, enemy to someone that he kind of cares about. And so that was super sad to see. And then we see, after they leave, we hear, I don't remember what her name, but we hear one of her mothers tell her to get up. So she gets up, and she realizes that she's no longer able, like, she's calling out to Quinlan, but she's no longer able to reach him. He's not hearing her. And that's when she's like, he can't hear you. You're now in the realm that we are in, with all the rest of your sisters. But I'll give you an option. Either you can go back to the realm of the living, or you can stay here. And so she's like, well, what will it cost me? And she's like, your heart. Like, that's, and it was like, okay. And so the way that I took it was that, like, she's going to lose the love for Quinlan, but we see later on in the episode that doesn't seem to be what happened, so I'm kind of curious to see, like, what did she really lose? Oh my word, sorry. Like, what did she really lose? That's my question, is I really kind of want to see and find that out. Like, what did she really lose whenever she said that, whenever she was told that? But so anyway, we move on to the Tales of the Underworld intro, and then, like, after she's released back into the land of the living, and everything's gone, we move on to the, Tales of the Underworld which then we go to a docking bay, or a place where you pay to get tickets to be on the next shuttle. And so we see the lady, someone's like, yep, okay, takes her credits, gives them a ticket, and Asajj is scanning tickets. Like, that's her job at the moment. And we know, like, that she's like, I like the peace and quiet out here. And then we fast forward to a bunch of stormtroopers, like, marching in with a probe droid. And then we see her eating lunch, and she, like, sees them, throws her lunch, goes back into where she's working, and then a kid comes in. And immediately this kid's like, I need transport onto the next shuttle. And he hands them credits, and they're like, well, that's not enough. And he's like, it'll be enough, doing a Jedi mind trick. So immediately I was like, yes, okay, let's do this. Let's do this thing. Like, I was so excited. Because they were like, well, that's not enough money for the next shuttle. And he was like, it will be enough. And Asajj immediately notices it and's like, okay, what are you doing? And then, like, whenever she's like, get out of here. And then whenever, like, she's like, get out of here. What the heck are you doing here? And she goes to throw him out. Then she sees the Imperials right outside her door, and she immediately closes it up, hides him, and is like, stay hidden. Don't do anything. Whatever you do, don't make a sound. And then she looks at her boss. She's like, you too, don't make a sound. Because she knows what the Empire is looking for. She knows the Empire is looking for him. And so she uses Jedi mind tricks. So she's like, they're not here. And right before the stormtroopers leave, because they're like, we're gonna search the place, we're gonna be looking around, we're gonna be trying to find something. And so immediately they're like, after she does that, they're like, okay, they turn it on to leave. And then whenever they're like, if you see anything, let us know. There's a big reward out. And immediately, Asajj's boss is like, a big reward, and it's immediately like he's behind there. And then Asajj kind of like rolls her eyes and like whips out her lightsaber, and the other kid does too. And they take out all of these stormtroopers, and her boss is like terrified. Like we see her start shuddering and like covering her face, like she doesn't want to be next. But by the time she uncovers her face, all the stormtroopers are gone, and so is Asajj and the other kid, which we don't have a name yet. I assume that we will have a name later on in the episode, but we don't yet. We see them running, and Asajj is telling this kid, like, why didn't you stay quiet? You should have stayed hidden. What are you doing here? And he's like, I was staying quiet. And she's like, clearly not. They know you're here. And so she was, like, going on and on about, like, why didn't you stay quiet? What the heck were you thinking? And then finally the kid's like, well, who are you? What Jedi are you? Like, how did you survive? I didn't think I was the only one. Like, I thought I was the only one. Like, how are you doing here? Like, I thought I was, like, one of the only ones here. Like, what's your name? What was your rank? Like, all that. Like, he starts asking all these questions, and she's not answering. And then he's like, finally, well, do you know the path? Surely you know the path. And he's talking about the hidden path. And he's like, surely you know of the path. Like, and he's going on and on and on. And she's like, I don't know of any path. And he's like, surely you do. The one that was set up by Quinlan Vos, that's, like, run by him. And she immediately at the name, she's like, Quinlan Vos. And he's like, yes, you do. She's like, I don't know of any path. I don't. But I have heard that name before. Like, her reaction was like, and so then they're like, they get into another docking bay. Like, after the Imperials have left, they run into another docking bay. They get there, and she starts handing credits. She's like, stay quiet. This should be enough for your next ticket. Stay down, stay low. Here you go. And so right as he's about to board the transport, and the thing is, before this, whenever they ran in there, we see the cape of an Inquisitor. And immediately I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. I know how this is gonna go. Just from the trailer, because they showed this. And so I was like, yes, okay, we're about to have a really good fight in here. And so they did. It was so cool to see, and so they did. So the Inquisitor walks in, and she's like, okay, you better run. And he's like, too late, he's here. Like, that's what the kid says. And so she's like, turns around, and there he is, and we have such an epic battle. I was really hoping that Asajj was going to be the run to take him out. He didn't. It was the kid. But still, it was really cool to see, like, everything that happened here. Now, the Inquisitor is unnamed. Like, I don't know the name for this. He may be named in, like, later episodes, but at the moment, he is unnamed. And so I'm, like, really curious now on what the name was. Even though he's gone, I'm still, like, super curious. But so we get such a good battle. We get such, like, a cool moment. Like, seeing Asajj go from a single blade to whenever that kid is knocked out to taking his lightsaber and fighting with her double blade style again. That was so cool. Like, and then, whenever she gets thrown aside and she's about to go, the kid uses, Asajj's and his lightsaber and takes out the Inquisitor, and then here come the rest of the Imperials. They run in, and immediately Asajj is like, come on. And so they start climbing, they get away, they get on the shuttle, and then they get in before it leaves the orbit. Before it leaves the atmosphere, sorry. So they get there, and so then he's like, who are you? Like, what Jedi are you? And she's like, finally explains that she's Asajj Ventress. She wasn't a Jedi, she was Dooku's top assassin. She worked with the Separatists, and she's like, I probably killed several people you know. And immediately you can see the look on his face kind of change, and he starts slowly backing up, and then that's where the episode goes to the credits. So, like, in total, this was such a good episode. I can't rate it yet because, like, I'll rate all the episodes at the end because I haven't, like, watched all 3 of them yet. I've only watched the 1, but I'll try to talk about each episode individually if I have time. But yeah, that was such a good episode. I'm so excited to see the rest of them, and I just can't wait. But yeah, that is the way forward. That was the episode breakdown for that one. I'm so excited, and I just can't wait to watch the rest of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. Bye, guys.